Hello, everybody, and welcome to GrassRoots Television annual presentation. Here's what's happening with Aspen Community Theater this year. Our fall musical is Mary Poppins, the beloved show, the beloved movie, the beloved character from books, and now presented to you by your friends and family members on the stage at the District Theater. With me today are, starting just at my right, Ricky Newman, who is the choreographer this year and other years. Graham Northrup is to her right, and he's directing the show and doing a fine job of it by the other night's rehearsal, I can tell. To his right is Jessica Vesey, who is portraying the beloved character Mary Poppins and bringing to it that English wit that she was born with. And to her right is Bryan Edelmann, who's playing Bert, the one named dance partner and singing partner for Mary. And I'm so glad that you're watching. So let's get started talking about the show. Graham, let's start with you.
Sure.
Tell us something that you know about this coming production.
What do I know? I know it's going to be amazing. We have such a fantastic cast. When I was proposing this show to ACT, this was actually not the original show I proposed. I originally proposed something else entirely, but I did want something big that would appeal broadly to the community. Since the last ACT show they did was a little bit niche in terms of that, and a little more of an adult audience. I wanted something that would really draw in as many people as we could, both as an audience and as a cast, and that really worked out. We got a lot of great people showing up for auditions, and we have a fantastic cast. So I'm very excited about that. And the team that came together for this is really awesome. Everyone working behind the scenes is just doing a fantastic job, and it's going to look great. It's going to sound great. It's going to feel great. So I'm just excited to be a part of it.
I'm so excited to see it. I can hardly wait. Jessica, is this your first ACT production?
This is my third one. I did Beauty and the Beast in 2014 and Big River in 2016, something like that, when I was in 6th grade. So then.
Don't worry, we don't have anybody fact-checking. Just make it up as you go along. Yeah. And portraying this character, what does that mean for you personally?
Well, it's such an honor because I grew up watching the films and it was a big thing in my family, and my dad would always talk about Mary Snip-Ops, and it was like a Christmas film for us. So being able to play Mary Poppins is truly such an honor, and I have so much fun doing it, and I feel like I am quite like her. I feel like we're similar people. So I just have such a fun time, and I just feel so lucky I'm able to have this experience.
How do you feel about flying?
Oh, I actually flew for, I was Wendy in Peter Pan in 7th grade. So I flew then, and I had a really good time. So I'm really excited to do it again.
So you have a lot in common with Mary.
Yes, a couple things.
And Bert, tell me about dancing and singing on the stage.
Oh my gosh, it is so much fun. And this show is so big and spectacular. The dancing. I remember my mother is a choreographer actually, and I remember coming home and telling her, this might be the hardest dance audition I've ever done for any show. I've been doing theater for about 20 years.
She is quite the slave driver, isn't she?
And the thing that came out of it is just a really talented group of people that are really dedicated, and it's such incredible, it's so awesome to be a part of that group of people.
And do you have a history with ACT?
I do, yes. I was Lumiere when we did Beauty and the Beast not too long ago, and then I was also in Crazy for You before that as well.
Oh, yeah, some wonderful shows.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. But I am so over the moon to be playing Bert. It's been my dream role since I was probably about 10. I said that it was I told my parents, I was like, I want to do that. And I remember watching the Dick Van Dyke Show because I loved Bert so much, and my parents grew up, they didn't let me watch regular TV, so I was like, can I watch the Dick Van Dyke Show? So that's what I grew up watching, and I've stolen all my comedic material from that show. So I'm really hoping no one else watches that show.
Fat chance. Yeah. And Ricky, how far back do you and I go with
well, let's see.
ACT?
We started spending more time here in 2005, but I got involved with Chicago first, and I was the dance captain because the director was also the choreographer. And then later I did choreography for the producers, and was in the 40th anniversary gala, and I've done a lot of dance workshops for ACT, which are a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Like
get
that.
ready to audition.
Yeah.
Let me show you how relatively painless it is.
Right. Well, you know, Ricky was my first thought when we were putting together the team. Travis McDiffit was like, who do you want to, round out your team? And Ricky was my first thought because I've worked with her before with Theater Aspen, a couple of shows back in the day, and I knew that, and I had worked with her at ACT before too. And her style of choreography was what the show needed, I think, in terms of step in time and and the soft shoe that we're doing for Jolly Holiday and all that stuff. So I knew that she was a right fit that way, but I also knew that she would raise our game a little bit. And when I say a little bit, I mean a lot. So
no Greek keys, no step together, step together.
Not very much, no.
no, in fact,
My favorite dance move.
well, and I was talking to Bryan the other day, and I was expressing this to the cast, but all the dances it's going to be fun, but step in time in particular. We were talking, and I said that is an achievement. That what these cast members have been able to do with Ricky's guidance and choreography is an achievement, and they're going to nail it, and it's going to bring down the house, I think.
Bryan, is your mom coming to see it?
Of course, she's bought a ticket for every night already.
Oh my goodness! That's how you sell those tickets, Graham.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Get the families in.
I think it's just gonna be me and Jess's families and
Yeah.
friends the whole time.
Every
and
night.
That's
Every
pretty much
single
it.
night.
And so you will get a lot of standing ovations.
Oh, well, I hope so.
At least one person. out
Most of
there.
my family probably won't walk out. That's the plan.
Yeah, you want to keep them in the seats.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so, Ricky, how do you balance? Like, you've seen the movie, have you seen the play? Yeah. And so, like, how do you balance what you've seen and the stuff that's coming into your imagination?
Yeah, I watched a lot of YouTube and watched different numbers and how this person put it together and that person, and I would pick out a few things here and there and then have my own ideas too.
Of course.
And then actually I started in July doing that research and then putting it all together, and then I put it together and then I redo and restyle, and then sometimes it doesn't happen with people like it does on paper, so redo according to your cast. But it's a real mixture. If you're a real fan of Mary Poppins and you've seen the play and you've seen the movie, you might say, "Oh yeah, I remember that." But it won't be taken directly from, because I like to be creative too.
Of course, yeah. What would the fun be in that?
Right.
Yeah. And Graham, casting, how did that go for you? Were you blessed? Or were you agonizing?
Oh, well, I mean, both. It's actually, you agonize more when you're blessed because you're like, oh my gosh, I have to choose between all of these people now.
Yeah.
And we were, so many talented people came out, and one might be tempted to think, oh, we got Jessica just because of her, excellent English accent, which she does so well. But
you sound English.
You sound
Thanks.
English.
I try my best.
But no, it comes down to you don't just cast the person, right? There could be many excellent actors and dancers and singers out there, but you cast the show, right? You have to put it together so that every position that you put, every role that you cast has to serve the show in some way to make the show the best it can be. And I think, as far as I'm concerned, we have a stellar cast because everyone is contributing in a major way to the storytelling, and so that's really what was exciting to me about seeing all these people come out to audition. It's like, oh yeah, we can put this person here and they can really shine. We can put this person here and they can really shine, and the whole show will shine as a result. So,
And aren't there differences between the play, which we're going to see, and the movie that people have memorized?
there are
No penguins.
no penguins.
Oh yeah,
no
did you
animation.
cast all those animated characters?
Right. I think one of the biggest differences for me And it's a subtle difference because the movie obviously emphasizes this as well, but it really emphasizes the family and the turmoil that they're going through, the storms that they're going through. That's one of the whole big metaphors of the show, and the way I've tried to block it is that they're in the middle of a hurricane, right? The winds are blowing. And they need an anchor in their lives, and they need an anchor to each other. And I think, you know, the movie does this, but the stage play, the stage musical emphasizes this a little bit more. They're off on the wrong foot. Their priorities are a little messed up, and so they have to. Mary Poppins comes in and becomes this catalyst character to help the children become these transitional characters in their family, to help their family transition from this, you know, chaotic hurricane into something that has solid footing. And that's what I really like about the stage version of the show.
Yeah, it's a lot less cartoonish. I feel like those characters are more based in reality. They're not just caricatures.
Right, and you know, which isn't to say we don't dip into fantasy. You know, when we go into supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, you know, that is like pure fantasy.
Wait, can you say it backwards?
She can.
Could we please hear
On
it?
the spot.
Should I?
Yes, please.
Sua wicadilipec execit siligarfila creepus.
She's tricky.
Well done. Well done. Yeah, so that's an interesting insight. I'm glad you're sharing that with us, because it's a fantasy, but it does have those great family values.
And we have lots of families involved too.
You mean in the cast?
Yeah, when I was proposing it, you know, my family had always wanted to do an ACT show together. You know, like the oh my gosh, the names are skipping me.
Your children's names?
Patrick Kelleher, the Kellehers. Sorry. No, the Kellehers had done shows together, you know, generational, and we, you know, for years, I've been in the Valley for 12 and a half years, and I've always wanted to do one with the family, but this was our first opportunity since I've been, you know, finished at Theater Aspen. I actually was available to do it, and so we thought, well, this would be a great opportunity. Mary Poppins, it's a family show, we could get this. So I really wanted families to come try out for the show, and we actually have 3 different families involved in the show.
Oh, tell us a little more about that. Yeah.
One of them, the Hemburys are in there, and Katrina she's on the ACT board, but her 2 daughters are also in the show, and which is fantastic. And we also have Sarah Evans, whose daughter Marie Rose is in it, and we were glad to get them because, you know, Marie Rose wanted to be in it, but Sarah also happens to be an accomplished dancer, and it's like, well, why don't you come out with your daughter, do the show with us? And there's this really neat scene that Ricky has choreographed where Sarah, well, you'll see in the show, but she gets to dance with her daughter in one of the numbers, which is just, you know, it's just really heartwarming. So.
And are there any other Northrups in the show?
There's a few. I can't remember all their names. No, I've got my wife is in the show, and 3 of my daughters are in the show in various roles. And
So you're the first time director who doesn't have to worry about getting home and feeding people.
right.
Do you just bring lunch for everybody?
Oh man, our meal prep has gone down the hill, you know, downhill. It's just no. I mean, we've had to pack dinners, and because Stephanie works until 5:30 and has to get right out the door and get up here, and I'm often early coming to production meetings and other things. So yeah, it's a little chaotic in terms of the planning, but it's been awesome because, you know, when we're driving home together in the car, we're singing the songs, and you know, the girls are, you know, and they really get into it. So it's been fun to see.
That's
Tiring, but fun.
Yeah,
And then
time
Erica and Charlie too.
And Erica and Charlie,
yeah.
Erica's our music director.
Oh, right, and her son.
And her son
Yeah.
is playing Michael in the show, and so yeah, we have 4 family groups tied to this, which is really neat.
I get to sing with Erica every Sunday.
Oh,
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Fabulous
So she's a
singer.
joy.
She's a great teacher.
Yes.
You know, really good with the cast in terms of teaching the material, and we were very glad to have her.
And
on
she's
board.
so upbeat. you know.
Very,
Yeah.
very.
Yeah. So,
Erica Nottingham.
yes.
Yeah, Erica Nottingham.
Yeah. And she's doing double duty she's teaching all day and
Right.
and
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what community theater is all about. People have their day jobs and then they come and play with us at night. Jessica's still in school, but yeah, so it's, everyone's a little bit exhausted, but that's part of the fun of it. It's extracurricular. It's something that we do on top of everything else because we love it so much.
right.
You have to love it.
Exactly.
Because I keep telling my family, because I was like, I work an 8-hour day, and then I live in Glenwood, so it's an hour up to Aspen every day, and then we have rehearsal, and then I come home, and I'm like, now I got to go to bed so I can get up for work in the morning.
Yeah.
So-
What is your day job?
Oh, I work in sales online, so
So at least you can
I get to
stay
work
in
from
your
home.
pajamas.
Yes, exactly right, and I do.
Good for you.
Yeah.
And for the two of you cast members, is it not fun when after the show is over and you have people who recognize you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so much fun.
Hey, didn't I just see you?
Yeah, it's like I remember having a lot of that experience in Beauty and the Beast. And just like I just love when kids come up to you and they're like, oh, it's Lumiere, just that moment like that. I mean, that's why you do it, right?
Exactly.
Because
For that recognition after the show closes.
yes, exactly.
Yeah, and after the show, like when you go up in like the costume and like kids look up at you and they're like, and like that
Yeah.
awe look, it's just such a good feeling that you like had such a big impact on the kids. And that's why I like to do theatre, because I like to influence younger children so then they can do theatre, because it's such a magical thing.
Right.
know.
And I also think that kids are spending so much time on screens that to have a flesh and blood person in front of them that they can talk to and connect with.
And there's nothing like it, Like there's absolutely nothing like theater, and like anyone that has not tried theater, try it, because it's addicting to get into, because you realize how much of yourself you can put into something, and how much you get back from that as well. And it's just such a, I don't know, it's everything. It's so personal, and I don't know, it's a beautiful experience to be a part of.
I remember doing a show, and one of the people who worked for the newspaper at the time wrote a column saying, now, I've lived here for 6 years, and now I understand what community means. I did community theater, and people told me to do it, that I'd enjoy it, and I thought, whatever. And he was just like captivated, sold on it for life.
You become a community, a family, and you have your headbutting, and you have your patting on the back and helping each other out, and you just grow very, very close to each other.
Yeah, doing a play with somebody is a different kind of experience than
It's
even working a 9-to-5 job with somebody.
Yeah, it's so personal. You're all in it together, and you have to help each other up. You're like a team. It's like being part of any sport. Because you have to be there for each other, and you have to support each other, and you're all working towards the same goal, which is.
And I just want to shout out to the new people who came out. We have lots of veterans, obviously, who came out, but there's several new people in the cast as well. This is their first ACT production. Either they're new to the Valley, or if they haven't tried it before, and they're coming, or they're young and they just haven't been old enough to do an ACT show before. So, and that's who it's for. It's for the community, right? So I would just encourage anyone who has even thought about it, just come try out and see what it's like once, I did, my first show was 1776, back in 2010, I think it was. And I still have friends from that production. I met, long time ago, and we still, say hi on the street, and, and obviously some of them I work with because they're in the theater world, but it was really a life-changing experience for me, being new to the community at that point and being immersed in that family, and having that to fall back on for 12 years,
And that was an unusual show in that there were so many men. Was there one or two women in that show?
Two women.
Two women,
Yes.
yeah. And that's usually the opposite.
Correct,
That the show's full of a bevy of beauties and a couple of...
Yeah, I think it's that case in our show, and of course, like 80% of our chimney sweeps are women, and that's fantastic. But but yeah, it's always, you know, that one has stuck with me for a long time. That particular experience, and you know, in Beauty and the Beast where I met Bryan. And, anyway, it's a good community experience.
Jessica, how do you manage being a student and having to do this? I mean, the rest of us have full-time jobs, but that's easy in comparison to being a student, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot, but it's just like I feel so lucky and I have so much fun doing it that it doesn't feel like dreading going to rehearsal. I get excited to go to rehearsal every day. And so I'm just happy I love it, because if I didn't, then I'd be really stuck, wouldn't I?
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, homework and everything is a lot on top of it, but I'm getting through it. I'm having a great time. So.
You must be good at organization.
Yeah, well, my planner's my best friend. I write down my life and it really helps, and, you know, stay on
She's
top
practically
of school.
perfect.
In every way.
Yeah, as you can imagine, she doesn't get much downtime in rehearsals.
I'll bet.
No,
I'll bet
yeah.
you're on
So.
your feet the whole time.
Go,
it's
go,
not
go.
like, let me go study my Spanish vocabulary.
Yeah.
But I also understand the beauty and the value of learning those organizational skills. My daughter was somebody who was involved in theater and sports and was a student, and when she went to college, her teammates all admired her and said, wait, you don't have to write this paper on Sunday night?
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I learned in high school that I have to write it on Monday so
Yeah.
that I can concentrate on my golf game. And
Yeah, I got to be organized, because if I stay on top of everything, like I think if I have homework due in a couple of days, I'll do it now, so I don't have to do it later. If I stay
Exactly.
on top of everything, then it won't all clam up, and I won't be like, oh my gosh.
right, I can't do this on Sunday night.
Yeah, organization is the key.
Yeah, and I think it's also a key to life. Graham, if you weren't organized, where would we be?
I just put other people on my team who are organized, and it works
And then you
out,
can
but-
sit back and relax.
Right, yeah.
You're
He's
just
very
in a
organized.
lounge chair every night. Right? So we should tell our captive audience who are saying or wondering with bated breath, well, when is the show? Give us some details, will you? You start.
So, first 2 weekends in November, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and the Friday and Saturday are evening at 7 p.m. and the Sunday is 2 p.m. matinee.
Great.
And yeah, it just runs for those 2 weekends only at the Aspen School District Theater.
And Jessica, where might people find tickets?
AspenShowTix.com.
Or in person
Yes, at the door.
at the Wheeler?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Bryan, will you tell us the website for more information?
I believe, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that it's aspencommunitytheater.org.
Exactly.
Is that correct?
Exactly. Good
All right. I
job.
can memorize lines. I can't memorize anything else.
Your head is full of lyrics.
Yes.
And lines.
No, and I would recommend that people get their tickets early for
Yes.
this because it's one of those shows that will sell out.
Well, and the cast members' families are already buying up all the tickets. So get in there and elbow your way to the box office.
And don't wait till the second weekend, because like last year, COVID came in and ruined the second weekend. So
But even if that hadn't happened, what traditionally happens in my experience and yours is that people hear about it and then say, oh, I got to get a ticket, and wait until Thursday. And a lot of times we're sold out. So, and even though there are lots of seats in the district auditorium, it's great to sit up close and personal. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a really fun, bombastic, heartfelt, touching show, and I hope we fill every single seat in the house every night.
I do too, and I think you will, especially with this kind of publicity. Anybody who's watching GrassRoots TV and listening to this audience, this group here, I'm sure you're thinking, I can't miss this show, and I've got to bring my kids at least once, and I'm sure there'll be people that come back and see it again and again because it's such an adorable
when
show.
they see some of those dances, they're gonna be like, I want to see that again.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. And unlike screens, live theater, you have to come back and sit in the seat a second time or a third. Yeah. So.
well, and Graham is kind of teaching acting too. We have a little warm up each night, whether it's vocal or acting or dancing. And I mean, he's giving them hardcore acting lessons and playing acting games and stuff. So they're getting extra in education in
The
theater.
kind of education you'd pay a lot of money for once you graduate and go to New York.
It's funny actually. The other night, Graham was talking about like some acting theory and stuff, and I was poking fun at him. I was like, "I was Stanislavski who said," and then Graham said, "Actually, now that we're on that topic," and they went into a whole thing about where acting method comes from, and yeah,
Which reminds
terrific.
me of going to the Aspen Mine Company, as I date myself, and the waitress saying, "I'm becoming a full-time actress." And I said, "Oh, good for you." And she says, "I'm going to New York. I'm going to study with Lee Strasberg. I can't wait to meet her." Which, I'm sorry, for those of you who out there, besides me and Graham, Lee Strasberg is a man. So she hadn't quite done all the homework she might have.
Right, right. Very influential, but I guess not as influential as needed to be in her case.
Yeah, and not somebody you saw his face on Facebook.
Right.
Anyway, that all sounds so fascinating, and I'm just reminding people, don't be shy. Go out and get those tickets, well, immediately, if it isn't midnight when you're seeing this, and tell your friends, and come and see your friends and neighbors who will be, some of them flying through the air. And do you have a parting word for us, Bert?
Wish I did. I'm not good with parting words. Good
All
at the
right.
introduction.
Okay, all right, I should have tested you
he's
earlier.
going to fly too.
I am
Yeah.
Yeah, somersault and all kinds of stuff.
Ricky, tell them something lasting so they remember to buy a ticket.
Oh, well, I was going to say, when these two came in, I mean, you can see their personalities right now. They are Mary and Bert.
Yeah.
And we knew what we were looking for personality-wise. And Jessica came in, and from the moment she walked in the door until the moment she left, she was Mary Poppins. She stood like Mary Poppins. She had the toes out, and it was just like, that's it. That's the one. Yeah.
I thought she floated in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and he with his personality and fun and jokes, and it was pretty easy to pick those two.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. What about you, Jessica? Have you got a parting word for the audience?
Well, I think it's going to touch everyone who comes and see it. Like, it has a way of reaching anyone, it's got everything in the story, fun, magic, like heartfelt. So it's just going to be magical, and I have so much fun doing it, and me and Bryan are forming a great relationship doing it, so
Oh,
I have such a great time.
wonderful. Graham, what do you want to say last?
What do I want to say last? I want to say that I'm actually glad that I ended up doing this show as opposed to the one I proposed previously, although I still want to do that one at some point. But I think this is the show that our community wants, but it's also the show our community needs right now in terms of everything about the story and the family that we're telling the story about, and of just the entertainment and the fun and the togetherness and everything. So I think it's one of those, it's going to be an experience, and it's going to be one of those unforgettable experiences, certainly for the cast and people involved, but I think for the audience too.
What a great insight. That just warms my soul hearing you say that. And I can't tell people how excited I am to see this.
And Dick Van Dyke and Julie Andrews, if you're out there and you want to come see the show,
Stop by.
if you want to stop by, we'll sign
Yeah.
autographs for you. Don't worry.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And that's the far reach of TV and the internet anymore. So they very well might be watching. I'm sure every morning they go to their computer and say, "What's new about Mary Poppins?" Well, thank you all so very much for being with me this morning, and for you tuning in. And let me remind you, get your tickets before we sell out, because this is going to be a family-friendly show like you've never seen before. And ACT, it's in your backyard, but it might as well be on Broadway. I'm Jeannie Walla. Thank you so much for GrassRoots TV, and it's been a pleasure. Thanks for tuning in. Stay with GrassRoots and watch what's coming up next.